Hello, galactic travelers, cosmic crew. What's up, full moon Antares? Purple rain, purple rain. I wasn't planning on making a video, but I wanted, somebody had commented, actually it was on another live. I've been guided to like be on all these little different lives. FYI, if you ever see like my ... it means that, all that means is I listen to it and I'm like, and so it is. I'm calling it in. Feel free to start spreading the dots. Anyway, Antares. So somebody asked, hey, what do you know about Antares? And I was like, you know what, I kind of know quite a bit about Antares. Now, this is where I have to give sunsoul.tv, Maru, huge ups, and this information started with her knowledge that she brought into the collective through quantum astrology and original starseed reading. So this is how I came to know about Antares and a little bit of history about the beings from there. And ever since, you know, I was part of her tribe and talking to other beings that were in the group, I kind of had a couple that I knew that were around me that were from Antares. And then when that transit hit, I can't remember when it was now, it's been about 3 or 4 months ago, I just am surrounded by beautiful beings all over the place, all different types, and they have this Antares marking. So I've worked with a lot of them, and I talked to quite a few of you guys on the readings. I just had another one today. So I was going to share with you what I know about Antares. You know, and as Maru said, and she talks about, and as we talk about on this channel, you know, the clearing of lineage and the clearing of lines. It's important to understand that Antares is basically, you know, it's a port. It's a galactic port right here in Sagittarius. It's 9 degrees of Sagittarius. Here's the Earth, right? And this full moon that is happening right meow is hitting, going straight to 9 degrees Gemini, which is this Aldebaran marker. Well, Antares beings all chose to come back in this life. The big thing is that they chose to come back in this life with their Akasha intact. They did not get a memory swipe. Okay? This blows my mind because, you know, being someone who's only been activated and awake and knowing all of these things about the world and about how everything we do has been manipulated and how we're supposed to live is really upside down and backwards. I mean, I've only had to deal with understanding this and trying to communicate this to people for a year in a consciousness that is awakened. I talk to beings, and there are beings that, I mean, but personally, that I have had conversations and stories with, you know, as far back as being 3 months old and looking at their hand and consciously being aware that they were a being in this little bitty body and being like, oh my God, look at that little chubby hand. So, man, Antares beings, big ups. Because, you know, there's a few reasons why this happened. We need to talk about this. But real quick, I want everyone to know, you know, that Antares beings, I mean, this is a galactic port that all these other star nations, we can come through this port, but Antares, you know, as a whole, you know, you could have, there's Draco, there's like original Draco, Capella, Orion, Antares. Antares is normally linked with, I mean, there's more, but I'm trying to go back through my thumbnails galactically. It's linked more typically to like the dragon line, which would be more of, you know, the reptilian. But as we all know, I mean, most of us are reptilian now. I mean, we have reptilian DNA. Some of us just have more than others. And there's quite a few reptilian different races, and they're not all just a reptilian. Don't get me wrong, that's my point. There's all different types of beings that will incarnate through this Antares. So that's all different blood types. I talked to O negatives, I talked to A negatives, O positives, A positives. And I think that's about the ones that I've seen are more O's and A's. Not to say that there's not a mix, but I'm just saying what I've seen, okay? So all different blood types. And the big thing that I'm seeing is it's from the future and the past. So whenever we look at these charts and we start looking at the different houses, where are your houses, what experiences are you having, but you can really even tell before that by just looking at where your energies are in your houses and where your starseed locations are and what your blood type is. That will definitely show us, are you bringing information, are you bringing spiritual information in, are you grounding it into the earth? Is like being in an earth vessel and an Antares being, or any being, but, and you know, for this video, Antares being, you know, is it grounding it into this earthly body? Is that what your chart's saying? Or is it, you know, the opposite, that you're more of a human form and you're making sure that you ground the spirituality and integrate it in? But the reason that they chose to come, you know, so they're from the future and the past. They maintain all of their memories. They remember being awake. I told you 3 months old. Definitely, you know, by 3 or 4 years old, it seems like all of them, for the most part, knew something was up. And, you know, that's a lot, you know, and I've talked to them all different ages, you know, from their late 20s, early 30s, up into their 60s. And in the old energy, I can just imagine, you know, how frustrating that might be, because they've lived these lifetimes, and in this lifetime for sure, the reason that they reincarnated with their memories intact is, number one, to pay karmic penance for World War II. When we go back now and look at the timeline, that was around 1945, and there's specific timeline shifts and keys that were used in order to shift consciousness right around then, and we really don't have the full story. I mentioned this in my last video, you know, whatever it is, it really doesn't matter. What the point of this video is to say that Antares beings came back and reincarnated in this life, in this awakening life, with all of their memories intact, to ensure that all of that information was always made available, that there was no way that it could be scrubbed. And this is a perfect example of how we pay back these karmic lineages, which was why it was important to get this video out today, because this is transmutation. You know, it's so easy for us to say, okay, you know, well, the Illuminati did it to us, or it's the Draco reptilians. Well, you know what? Some of us have that blood too. There's a lot of us that are reptilians, so we can't even go doing that. There's no excuse to be living that way anymore, because we're just don't give it any power. Take that power and transmute it into understanding and love, and that's transmutation. So, and you know, the Antares energy, understand that those beings and those bloodlines have paid penance. We've all paid penance, so there's no reason to have judgment anymore. But why I'm telling you this is because what I see most, and especially in Antares beings, is, you know, they spent their whole lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of lifetimes either in earth bodies or as beings. Lots of time they have spent protecting and, you know, not feeling like they were so different and that the world was upside down and backwards and that they didn't fit in, and they couldn't help but have some type of judgment against all the rest of this that they completely didn't understand either. Because for them, you know, it's kind of like a colorblind person. How do you know if you're colorblind? If I tell you it's pink and you're colorblind, then did that person even know what pink is? So the Antares beings, you know, they don't understand. They're like, I just don't understand why you guys can't see this. Well, on the flip side, you know, because they were paying that penance and because they were having to hold space, they were having to hold consciousness up this whole time, which is what helped us make the shift. But now that the shift is here, it's like, you know, they can't, they have a harder, it's not that they can't. Don't want to say that, right? We have to be careful about our words. I'm training myself too. You must use the knowledge and the consciousness to realize that everyone's catching up with you now. There's a whole bunch of us that understand it. We get it. So now what's happened is the people, you know, that were by themselves in these hermit spiritual rabbit holes, or they had it labeled in a box, spirituality, and it's over there in that box. You know, but I'm at work now, so I can't open that box, and it's got to be like top secret place for me to open that box. I can't just open that box anywhere. That's the secret stuff. That's the labels. That's the program. That's the karma. That's what helped you make it here. But, you know, that's what this time is all about, is about transmutation and understanding that everyone gets a free slate, a clean slate here. And so we're catching up in the worlds that you guys have been living and how you've been living. Now we need you guys online more than ever. And so the best way to make that consciousness shift is, you know, besides the emotions, we talk about that, but is to really understand how galactic you are. You know, you're not the energy of just a person. You're the energy of a star. You're the energy of a planet. I mean, your frequency, whenever you're online, is massive. So really just take a bigger, you know, look at your chart, see if you've got if any of this resonates, then please, please, please pull up your natal chart, astro.com. I'm hoping to have an affiliate link soon for Sun Soul TV, but no matter what, you know, look, throughout this process, I had one thing, and it was my astrology, my daily astrology, as I was, you know, going through a lot of coin transitions like we're on right now. So as far as I know, you know, Antares is the only one that the beings as a whole, as an incarnate class, and that again, because of the karma, came back with their memories. I'm gonna do another video soon on Alpha Draconic and Rigel and Notice 1, Notice 11, and so stay tuned for that. And then the other one I really want to make sure that people understand is the Zeta Reticuli. Because they're a huge part of evolution, huge part, and we got to transmute some perceptions about those guys too. So purple rain, we are transmuting, we release everything that no longer serves us. We release it back into the energy of Gaia, and we ask her to accept it at her core and release it through the earth. We ask for everything that no longer serves to be released through this full moon of Sagittarius, through the fire of Antares, and through the prism of ultraviolet purple light. A at the core of our being. And we ask for Gaia to accept it into Taurus and to breathe love and pure oxygen and light and rainbow colors and vivid dreams. And oh, I can just see the rainbows and the clouds and just love. So it doesn't matter what they throw at us. We're tooting unicorns. Hoot hoot. I'll talk to you guys soon. You know I'm nuts. Not like nuts, but you know. Speaking nuts. Purple rain. Full moon. New moon coming up 2 weeks. What are you manifesting?